I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What's up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Briarpatch After Show here at AfterBuzz TV, and I am your host and Jake Spivey super fan. I'm still wearing the hat. I'm Brandon Hanna, and I am joined by two of the most amazing panelists I've ever had in my whole life. Starting with first, it's the amazing. He's our own private eye. It's Kevin Allen.
You're so kind to me, kinder and kinder every episode. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be talking about this show because there's a lot to talk about.
Yes, it is. And we are so excited to have the Queen back this week. It's Queen Esther Akenem.
Hey, I am so happy to be back with you guys. I'm so sorry I missed you guys last week, but I am here. Your girl is here, and there's just so much to talk about. Like, did you miss me, Brandon? Because you and I are always together. You did. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Good. I felt the missation happening, but I'm excited for tonight because it's just a lot going on. I can't even believe what we're watching anymore. It's a totally different show to me right now.
Yeah, there is a lot going on for sure, and we have a packed episode for you all today. We have Allegra and Jake. They escape Clyde Brattle, but the journey doesn't end there. And Rey Tech strikes a deal with Cyrus. That's something I'm really interested in getting into.
Yes.
And Brattle finally has his meeting with the senator. We're going to talk about what all that entails. We're going to speculate what might come next. But of course, we do also have our special segment this week. It's Conspiracy Corner. Real life tales of corruption uncovered. And that is why I called Kevin Allen. If this is your first time tuning in, that's why I called him our own private eye, because he uncovers some real life tales of corruption that you're not going to want to miss. So before we get into that, because that's going to be great, I do want to hear everyone's overall thoughts on the episode. Queen Esther, let's start with you. What did you think?
I'm lost. Viewers, are you guys lost? Because I'm lost.
Yeah.
I just don't even know what I'm watching anymore. Like, they have taken me on a journey that I'm just like, who wrote this? Like, what are you guys doing? First, it's like the horror version, how inside the car and just everything happening, in that car scene is just beyond me. I just couldn't even understand it anymore. But I am not surprised at Rey Tech. Like, I am not surprised at what she's getting, because she has an eye for what she wants and she is going for it and she just does not care. So it's kind of exciting. I know we started this show with me, and I think, Brandon, you and I probably, pretty much had the same kind of thought with AD being like the person that knows all and probably is the killer, but they have literally proven us wrong with this episode. Like, I was just like, oh, AD, so it's not you, so it's just a whole bunch of mess going on. Yeah.
Hey, there's still time for one big twist regarding AD's sin.
I know.
I'm holding out.
I want to believe with you so much right now, but this episode just literally changed my whole mind. He became like the angel in the whole, show to me at this moment. But I'm going to hold on with you. Because you and I are together, I'm going to hold on with you. Sorry, Kevin. Sorry.
Thank you. Yeah.
I don't know what it's going to take, honestly. Like, he barely did anything in this episode.
Before you told us so, what are your overall thoughts on this episode?
Well, I got to agree with Esther about a lot of it. This episode was very different in style and tone. There was a lot of new things happening for our characters. They were put through brand new experiences. And yeah, by the end of it, I'm a little lost too. Not so much, I'm still watching the same show. I'm at least there. But I have no idea who to trust anymore. I really thought we were getting answers, and we are, about some people. But then there's others who I think I've got them pegged, and it turns out I'm way off, to the point where, I hate to say it, but for all I know anymore, you guys could be right. AD Sin should peel his face off and reveal himself to be Saint Disgrace incarnate.
Disgrace, yeah.
And just, who knows, man? There was a lot of new stuff in this episode.
Yeah, this was a very unique episode stylistically. We start off with this crazy dream sequence that comes to fruition with Allegra crashing the van in the desert. So
And
I mean,
then
let's
her
just jump.
sister showing up.
Yes,
Like
that was
that I was actually happy to see. I'm like, she was like all in the first episode and then no more. So it's like really actually nice to see her again. But I was just like, why? There's so much twist in that little scene. And I don't understand why they had to make that, you know?
Mm.
Well,
I think
surprisingly enough,
yeah.
this whole surrealism expose was those are two words that made me sound like I know what I'm talking about. I don't.
You sound so like a professor right now.
Well,
you know?
this Freudian trip through a surrealist interpretation of her psyche taught us that Allegra's id. We actually learned a lot more about Allegra than I feel like we've had. This is the only way we, as the audience, got her to open up was by putting her fears on display.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all we get out of Allegra.
True. Very, very, very true. And even with the scene, not to jump too forward, but even just with the scene with her, driving the car, you really got to know her a little bit more in there. Just like, oh, like she's afraid of something. She's not always 100% a strong person, you know. So I really like that part of it, but I'm just confused.
Yeah, let's get into that van crashing and Jake and Allegra trekking through the desert. It really seemed like that dream sequence came to fruition where we learned that this is Allegra's first time behind the wheel of a car since her parents' death, and they tragically died. I believe their car going off a cliff or something to that effect.
Yes.
So it's certainly something very traumatizing for Allegra.
Not just that, she also killed a man. Like I assume for the first time.
Yes,
because she was pretty shaken up about it before she got in the car. To the point where when her hand was shaking for the ignition, I needed Jake to remind me that that's why, that it's about the vehicle, not about the fact that they just had to choke out a guy in tandem.
True.
Yeah, not to mention Jake cut off his hand with a shovel. Clean off.
What a boss.
Amazing.
That was a beautiful teamwork.
Yeah.
He set the guy up with a cigarette.
I honestly feel like everything that Jake does is because of the love that he has for her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think
that was something.
Yeah, like if this was just him alone, I think he would have given up and would have just like, you know what, fine, you guys take me, it is what it is. But I think for the love that he has for her, he is like pushing strong, not just to protect him, but mostly to protect her. So he's literally.
I agreed where she was going with that.
No true love, people, love relationship right now.
Okay.
Yeah, for me personally, that whole moment when they're walking in the desert immediately after the car wreck, that was maybe my favorite moment of the episode, where he talks about them being a good team and they should stick together, and it just makes sense. And Allegra says something to the effect of, "Are you trying to tell me that you love me?" And my favorite line was when he replied, "I told you I loved you the moment I took that bullet for you, Pick."
I was like, yeah!
That was a great line. Line.
Because I literally remember that scene like so well. Like it literally was like a flashback for me. Like they didn't even need to even do a flashback. Like the way he said it was so intense, and they just like you could that he meant it. Like, duh, I took a bullet for you. Like, isn't that love already? Like, do I need to spell it out for you? Like, I love you, even though he's
she kind of needs to like at least acknowledge that. She doesn't have to love him back, but she can at least acknowledge that what he does for her. That'd be nice.
Exactly. But I think she's also probably turning between the love of AD, because AD is there for her also, you know, and they've already had, you know, they've already done their accusation, you know, had a little mouth going, and then just the love that Jake has for her also. I think she's kind of like trying to just be in the middle for that. In my own love relationship brain, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe I'm just hoping for something else. I don't know. They should have probably written that in their scene also.
Yeah, but does AD wear a sweet cowboy hat? I don't think so.
Oh my God,
So
I cannot.
that's
I
the
cannot.
deal
People,
breaker
just
for me.
please ignore Brandon. Viewers, please just ignore Brandon right now. He's just way too much into it.
No, don't ignore me because I got stuff to say. So
Okay, please.
when all hope seems to be lost when they're in the desert, what do we see? We see a camel from the zoo that leads them to none other than Candy Bar Baines.
Yes.
What a revelation
Apparently
that
is
was.
the child of the family who used to live in the Spivey Manor, as I call it. So,
Man,
Kevin, you look like you're really interested in talking about this guy. What do you
Please
got?
do,
I mean,
because I can't.
I actually don't. I don't want to talk about him because I mean, I was floored that like this is the voice on the radio we've been hearing this whole time. It's not just like some out there nut job just trying to do it for ratings. It's this actual conspiracy theorist who is holed up in an abandoned swimming pool and pulling wires through walls, but really makeshift, like exactly what you'd expect out of a crazy radio broadcaster. And then to find out he's like the long lost heir of the town's wealth is crazy to me. But that's where I'm done talking about it because I didn't understand a word coming out of his mouth. Like, the stuff he was spewing was so bonkers and not appropriate for the scene at all. Like, dude, read the room. Okay, there's a time and a place. You got a man bleeding out on your table and you're like giving him sass for being one of the sheeple. Come, just stop. Get over yourself.
But I did like the fact that he kind of revealed a little bit more information to them, which was good. And for some reason, I found it so fun when he asked Jay, look at me, and I was wondering like, what is he about to say? And he's like, "Oh, you're fine." I'm like, "What?" Like that's like your doctor. that's like your doctor. What analogy is like? "Oh yeah, I've tested you. You're okay," by you just looking at me. Like, are you serious? That was so funny to me.
Yeah, well, I'm glad at the very least we finally found out who freed all the zoo animals.
Yeah.
True. That's nice to know.
And
He's a liberator.
He did prove himself to be somewhat knowledgeable, but equally crazy. How I think he did he say that he used a bomb to get the zoo animals out?
Yes, he did.
I think he might have, and he immediately knew there was two bombers. He immediately knew the motive behind there being two bombers. So I found that to be pretty interesting. So he's got a lot of conspiracy theories, but he seems to be right to a certain degree. I don't know. We'll see if we ever see
helping Allegra with her detective work.
Yes.
I mean, he confirmed her theories. Well, he had theories and then she confirmed them. So validating his knowledge on this subject, and he was able to help her like kind of trace back and understand what direction to start looking in next, which I hated that I had to admit that the guy knew what he was talking about, but he absolutely was on the ball there.
Yeah. And overall, he seems like a nice guy. He did help them out after all. Someone
could have driven them to the bus station.
Yeah, he could have at least. But someone
that bus was like so
wouldn't have driven
old.
them to the bus station is yeah, I would not have gotten on that bus. Well, I guess I would have if I was trekking through the desert like they were.
That's very
but
true.
As I was going to say, someone who wouldn't have helped them is Chief Rey Tech. But before we get into Chief Rey Tech, I just want to thank everybody watching at home for making us the ESPN of TV talk. We would not be able to do this show without you. So thank you so much for tuning in every week. It really means a lot. Please make sure to like this video, leave a comment down below, subscribe to this channel and all the AfterBuzz TV channels, because despite us being in quarantine right now, we are able to do this show and do so many other after shows for you. So please, if you need something to watch, it's great content across the board. And please, 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 I can't say this enough. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, rate us there, leave us a positive review. That really helps out a great deal. Now, it looks like Queen Esther stepped away for a moment. So Kevin, I'm going to go to you. What do you think is going on with Rey Tech and Cyrus? Do they have a deal?
I don't know, man. I honestly don't know. At the top of the episode, when she was being questioned about how she feels with Holder being this bummer, and she just kind of she reacted so harshly but earnestly. And that reinforced what I had said about her in the past. I may not like her as a person, or I may not really trust her her intention, not her intentions, but her
Her
like
motives. And
yeah,
everything
like
she
she's
does is
fighting
not
corruption with
trustworthy.
corruption,
She
but I can at
is.
least entrust where she's going with it. So I trusted her frustration with the system. And now she's cutting deals with Cyrus like behind scenes, and I can't trust her anymore. I really thought, and this is of all the things I was saying that like I thought I knew where we were and now I don't anymore. This was the big one for me. Was I felt like we were
Yeah,
finally getting some answers about Rey Tech and this whole plot with the packing house. But as soon as she ripped that banner off from Durango, I was like, okay, great. Now she's betraying Jake. She's been playing him the whole time.
well, for me, this is what I've picked up. I don't think she's necessarily betraying Jake. I believe that she believes that Jake is dead, that Clyde Brattle killed him. And so what does she do? She hands over all of Jake's Durango Global properties to Cyrus. They even brought up her having to forge Jake's signature on all the documents to hand over the property. And I think in return, Cyrus is going to help her get elected to mayor. So I don't think she's necessarily betraying Jake. I think this is her just rolling with the punches once again. Crazy things keep happening in this town, and through all the adversity, she still finds a way. She has a lot of perseverance. She keeps powering forward. So I don't necessarily think she's a bad guy. I just think she's looking out for herself. She thinks that Jake is out of the picture, so she's not going to be upset about it. She's just going to keep pushing forward. Queen Esther, tell me, am I way off? Do you have any other theories?
No, I actually agree with you. I feel like she doesn't have time to mourn over Jake. It's like you gone. I mean, if you remember, I think either the last two episodes or so, with her kind of like being annoyed of how the town, is ran by men, and how she's not given the opportunity, and her just kind of trying to fight, for herself. Do you remember the scene where she was in like a conference room with a bunch of men, like that rule the town? So I think for her, she's just like, okay, he's gone. I feel bad. How many seconds? 1 second. Okay, let's move on. Let me go and, get what I want, because at the end of the day, it's all about me. Jake was probably just like a tool to kind of help her out, but she doesn't have time to mourn for him. So I kind of agree with you on that one. That I think she's doing the right thing for herself. Now, is she really doing the right thing? I don't agree, because I think she's definitely corrupt in every way. She's not a good person to me. We should try to do a little good if the show actually plays out a lot more, maybe. But corruption is corruption. She's bad either way. Yeah.
I'll say this about Rey Tech, though I'm not quite sure where she stands, unless I don't really know how I feel about her. I loved her message to Holder at the end of the episode.
Yes.
That real back channel, like, oh yeah, he's been kidnapped, and I just want to let him know. Brilliant. Oh
I
my
was
God,
snapping
what a
to
clever
that.
play.
Like
Yeah.
just like the eye contact, her mouth, her lips, the way she was looking into that camera, and just like, we're gonna find you. I
Burned
don't
a
care where
lens
you hide.
right into that
I know
hotel
this
room.
town so well, so you better hide, because I am going to find you. I was like, yes, for the first time I actually do something right.
Yeah, I absolutely loved that moment as well. She is not afraid of anybody or anything.
No.
And like I said, I appreciate that, because I don't think she's a bad guy. I think maybe something might come into play where she still finds a way to help us out, I guess, as you will,
I hope
the Jake
so.
Spivey's and the Allegra Dills of the world. But let's take this moment to talk about Gene Coulter for a second. We learned that the bomb that he used to kill we learned the bomb that he used to kill Felicity was meant for Jake Spivey. That was something that Brattle had said.
Yeah.
And he was in debt to the mob, and that debt got passed over to Brattle. So now he gets the tattoo. He's in with Brattle till the end of the line. So, Kevin, do you have any additional opinions or thoughts on what's going on with Gene, his relationship with Brattle?
Oh, I definitely want to talk about him, because I'm going to drag him. I don't think his his debt was transferred over to Brattle. I think Brattle bought him. I think he bought his debt and thus bought Holder. I don't know why he's keeping him around because he is absolutely terrible at his job. Like I wouldn't tattoo him and make him a permanent member of the group because I'm like, you're gonna be bait for the next.
He's a liability.
Absolutely. I mean, he's completely sloppy. Brattle called him out and says, it wasn't you cleaning up your own mess. It was you making another one in the name of vengeance. Yeah, absolutely horrible. His new disguise is he just painted his mustache rather than like, I don't know, shave it off or anything else. Like Holder, I'm amazed he can put together a working bomb because he is so crap at what he does. So that's all I gotta say about him.
What about you, Queen Esther?
He's a mess. He's just a mess. I just don't even know what he's doing with his life. Like they should have killed him a long time ago. I would have been fine with him being killed like 3 episodes ago. The reason why he's alive, I don't understand. I think they should have let us know long time ago that, he technically put the bomb for his supposedly girlfriend. Because him being alive is pointless to me. He's really not doing anything to me at all in the whole, scene for the past 2-3 episodes. He should have been gone. He's a snake. He doesn't need to be there. Yeah, that's all I have for him.
Yeah. I think we're definitely going to see Allegra put a bullet in him or something before this season is done with.
That will be a bomb I want to see. That will be a bomb I want to see. Like, put a gun in his head and like, you killed my sister.
But something that's going to have major implications going forward is Brattle had his meeting with the senator, and boy, there is some juicy things for us to sink our teeth into this one. He gives him some names, some very high up people, some potential presidential candidates that now the senator is going to try to blackmail to pursue the office himself. And we got 80 Singe recording the entire meeting. Everyone's trying to betray the other. There's a lot going on. And Allegra, well, she just knows about all of it now. So, Kevin, do you think Allegra is going to get the upper hand on the senator? Do you think the senator is as stupid as I think he is? Because why would you immediately say, yeah, we're just going to take the evidence and then we'll turn in Clyde Brattle, as if someone like Clyde Brattle doesn't have a contingency plan for if you so obviously betray him? Like, I think Senator Ramirez is toast. Someone with a squiggly line tattoo on their back is going to take him out sometime in the near future.
So, do you remember how I said like, I can't imagine how Cyrus is pulling the strings and being the power here because obviously the senator has the power. Boy, man, do I take that back? I don't know how the senator gets anything done without Allegra and Cyrus. Honestly, left to his own devices, he makes terrible choices. He jumps the gun. He makes brash decisions. Even if Brattle's contingency plan was to say, I don't know, maybe listen in on the conversation afterwards. That's something to consider because somebody definitely was. The guy sucks. I'm so looking forward to see what happens with his master plan now. All I want is for Allegra to kind of get him to crawl back into his hole with his tail between his legs, because that's what he deserves. I don't know how he is going to take down all 4 of these people with blackmail, let alone how Allegra is going to be able to use this information to take all of them down. So it's going to be a very exciting conclusion next week.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I definitely want to make sure we put master plan in quotes because it just sounds like the worst plan I've ever heard. And he came up with it in about 5 seconds?
We're just going to do it. It'll be a breeze.
It'll be so easy. We'll just call up these people. We'll tell them we have this evidence. They'll just back out of the election. And then we'll just arrest Clyde Brattle. Dumb. So dumb. And oh, by the way, he's okay with them killing Allegra. And Allegra knows this now, so she's pissed. Queen Esther, do you think Allegra is going to have her vengeance in all of this?
Oh, she's going to bring all of them down. So let's just talk about the betrayal, first of all. That he is totally fine with betraying Allegra and not making her come back to Washington. I thought that was just like so stupid. Someone that you've been sleeping with. So already that's stupid of you. And then you thinking that you're just gonna like dump her like that without her coming after you was just very irresponsible and not smart at all. And if you notice when Clytek said, called the senator like senator, like, are you really agreeing to this? The way he called out senator, he's like you're just not serious right now. And for him to just even agree to like giving up Allegra was just so stupid. I feel like Cyrus is going to go against the senator because Cyrus still runs the show. I don't care what senator thinks. Cyrus still runs the show. And I feel like Cyrus is definitely going to find a way to protect Allegra somehow because the senator is dumb. He's just a man. Like he has absolutely no power. But Allegra is definitely going to, now that she has all of the information, she's going to use it against the senator because she also knows dirt about the senator. So she knows dirt about the three men. Even though they're all kind of against each other, even though she's technically with Jake, but she knows dirt on all three men. So she's going to use that against all of them. So if they think that they are, I am so sorry because I am waiting to see episode 10.
Yeah, it certainly seems like Allegra's holding all the cards. I guess
yes, she is.
My only concern is, does she have the manpower to take everybody down? Possibly, if she can get AD Singe, maybe Chief Rey Tech on her side, and of course, Jake Spivey can safely leave his house because there was something very ominous going on when he walked through the door, and there was some muddy footprints and what looked like a bullet hole in the forehead of his portrait. Which, by the way, I do want to own that self-portrait of Jake Spivey. If they could put it up right behind me on this door here, that would be
You're just gonna scare everybody coming to your house.
Yeah, probably. But I think I agree with you. I think Cyrus is going to go against the senator. He seems very protective of Allegra. He doesn't want her dead. He wants her to work for him, and she does seem to have a little bit of a soft spot. Kevin, do you have anything to add to that point?
No, just that I agree. Cyrus, for all the mystery about him, he seemed very conflicted at the notion of offing or cutting out Allegra from the picture, and just he didn't answer himself. He referred to the senator just to get the senator's honest reaction. So yeah, he's making plans with Chief Rey Tech. So I don't know what he and her and I guess Allegra and AD can do against this working senator, but I guess if the senator's master plan works in taking down all his competition and then betraying Brattle, that gets all of them out of the way. So all they have to do is join forces against one guy. That does seem plausible. So maybe that's what we'll see in the final episode. I don't want to jump ahead and make wild accusations, but they're going to need Cyrus if that is the case.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if Senator Ramirez's horrible plan somehow works, it would then be very easy for Allegra to step in and single-handedly take him down. So I think I'm with you on that. But I do think it's time we get into our special segment for this week. It's Conspiracy Corner, real-life tales of corruption uncovered. And we have the world's greatest private investigator himself. It's Kevin Allen. Take us away. What do you got?
Teach me something, week? Kevin.
All right. Well, do you guys remember when FIFA was brought up in corruption charges because they had taken bribes from the city of Qatar to host the 2018 World Cup? They also did it with, this was a thing. FIFA, which is a huge organization. Maybe not big in here in America, but trust me, it's a massive world organization.
Oh, believe me, I'm a soccer person. So that's the real football, people. Real football. Okay, let's not get to that. Sorry.
Well, so their crimes also hold nothing on American football. They took bribes in connection with Qatar and Russia for hosting the 2022 World Cups. So anyway, separate from that, there has been another ongoing investigation into corruption regarding FIFA and 21st Century Fox. So last past Monday, 2 former 21st Century Fox executives were prosecuted and indicted in federal court for wire fraud and money laundering in relation to a Spanish media company, Imagine Media Audiovisual, and their former co-chief of that company, Gerard Rami, all for trying to, I guess, take bribes from or FIFA in order to broadcast their Big Soul exclusively. I'm not entirely sure. I think it was to secure lucrative media and marketing rights to specific soccer matches with FIFA. That's what it was. My bad. So yeah, FIFA took bribes from countries in order to have their live events there, and then took bribes from 21st Century Fox, which is now a brand new company now that Disney's taken it over.
Yeah.
But they took bribes from them to get broadcasting rights, and it's just crazy to me that this Spanish company, Spanish entertainment company, and Fox, one of the biggest media conglomerates of all time, and FIFA, a world massive sports organization, all got together to be in cahoots. Like nothing is sacred. No one is too big to pull off this shady backdoor stuff.
But I mean, I wonder why they would even entertain taking bribes when I'm sure they can easily get sponsors and get companies to sponsor them, because those companies are also going to benefit, from whether it's the advertisements or product placement or so. Like, I'm sure they have different ways to benefit financially than having to take bribes. That makes no sense. But anyway, I mean,
I'm not gonna pretend I'm a business major at that executive level, but the idea, from what I've been gathering this whole season, is like, hey, let me take you out to some free dinner in Vegas. I'll put you up for a hotel. We'll go
Nothing
see some
is
shows.
free.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm gonna treat you specifically, to some fancy stuff under the table if you sign off on your company letting us do this thing. And isn't that what Cyrus and Rey Tech are doing?
It sounds a lot like it, and we do know that Cyrus, well, he loves food, so it must be really easy to get that dinner with him. But I mean, as this show has showed us, no one is above corruption. I'm sure even Kevin Allen has his price.
Can I just say that this episode, I was kind of like upset because, as you just slightly mentioned, they didn't really have enough food in this episode. That's rude. They had drinks. The wine glass was a little bit, very sketchy. But like, they didn't have any food. Like, what's up, people? Like, you cannot start the whole episode, the whole season with like giving me like different kind of meals and then not give me anything this episode. Come on.
I actually loved that they offered like cactus juice, and I feel like Cyrus kind of scoffed at it. It was like, no, I'm not trying that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe there will be food in the next episode, which I think is a perfect time for us to talk about our predictions for next week. This is the big one, guys.
And now,
let's start with you, Queen Esther. What do you think is going to happen next on this show? What conflicts do you think will be resolved? Will there be any open-ended? What do you think?
I just feel like Allegra is going to have all of the dirt and expose all of them, and they're all going to be exposed on stage. I feel like there's going to be some kind of like campaign with the senator, and she's going to expose literally all of them. And Cyrus will have nothing to do with it. He won't be able to control anything. And she's finally going to be free from him. Because at the end of the day, even though, she works for Cyrus technically, she wants to be free from Cyrus because he's now controlling her also. So I feel like she's going to have all those dirt and expose him on stage if they're actually going to have a campaign on there. At the end, will Allegra really be with Jake? I don't see it. I think she's probably going to end up being with AD if AD is actually a good guy. But if he's a bad guy, like we are thinking, she's going to like, peace out. I'll see you guys never.
What about you, Kevin?
Aside from the scenario I described earlier, I don't really see a way out to resolve all this corruption, shy of Allegra taking pieces of flint and lighting the town on fire with AD Singe and Cindy McCabe, who deserves some recognition at this point on either side of her as the only three trustworthy people in the whole town. With the dry heat, I think she could pull it off.
Yeah, me personally, I think there's going to be a lot of conflicts that go unresolved, but I do think we're going to see the end of Senator Ramirez. I think enough people are pissed off at him between Allegra and Cyrus and soon to be Clyde Brattle. I think he's done. And then maybe all these parties kind of just nod and go their separate ways for a little bit, but I don't think their stories are done yet. But we're just going to have to wait and see. Well, that's just about wraps up our show today. Keven Allen, if people want to find you in the meantime, where can they?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Keven Allen Says and Instagram at Keven Allen Cram. And I got to give one last shout out to Rosario Dawson. You guys had mentioned way earlier in the season that she doesn't get enough applause for amazing performances. And I think she did a fantastic job out there in the desert. So round of applause for Rosario.
What about you, Queen
She
Esther?
deserved it.
Where can people find you online?
You can definitely find me on Instagram and on Facebook, Queen Esther E. Just all one word, Queen Esther E.
And I am Brandon Hanna. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at BrandonHanna07. Maybe I'll post some videos of me doing my Jake Spivey impression because I just can't get enough of that pic. But
I can't wait for it to be over. This is too much.
Brandon Hanna, you're too much.
Yeah.
We're just gonna have to see you all next week. But until then, we'll catch you later. All right, see you now.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.